Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In an article titled, Fairview City Councilor Threatens Legal Action Against the Outlook, published in the Gresham Outlook on December 25, 2015, Katy Sword wrote, Bejarana put the Outlook on notice in July, insisting the paper limit contact to his city-supplied email and City Hall telephone. On November 5th, the Outlook called Bejarana on his personal cell phone, seeking comment for a city-related story. Two things about this article should be noted. First, Ms. Sword has acknowledged being notified of my request to use only city-supplied communication channels for city business. Second, Ms. Sword has acknowledged she ignored my request and, quote, called Bejarana on his personal cell phone. Since the article's publication, I have received dozens of phone calls on my business line asking if I was going to sue them for calling me to ask about city business. It should also be noted that I've received many more phone calls thanking me for pushing back on the big bad media. While I abhor the first and appreciate the latter, neither have anything to do with city business. There are several ways to respond to Ms. Sword in the Gresham Outlook. First, Fairview City Councilors do not receive a stipend for cell phone usage for city business. Forcing councilors to use their personal resources for city business is not legal. Put another way, if I were using city resources for personal business, the Outlook would be publishing a story about my abuse of power and the people's money. How then could they casually accept the opposite and require me to be at their beck and call via personal communication channels? Second, personal cell phones do not automatically record all conversations, and thus information contained in those phone calls is lost as a public record, except through court order. The process of obtaining a court order imposes an extra expense on the city that is not accounted for in the annual budget. By using the city communication channels, record of the communication is stored for public access. I point to an issue brought before the Fairview City Council back in 2013, where an unfounded accusation of a councilor using personal communication channels for city business was hotly debated. There was no basis for the complaint, as was proved, but it should be noted that the fervor of the Outlook on August 23, 2013 was how wrong it was for a councilor to use personal communication channels for city business. Why then on December 25, 2015 does the Outlook seem to be so intent on forcing a city councilor to use personal communication channels to conduct city business? Third, I have responded to every request made by the Outlook via my city-provided communication channels in a timely manner. Therefore, fourth, I have not limited the Outlook from exercising their constitutionally protected right of freedom of the press. It's obvious the Outlook feels I am unfairly restricting their access to my opinions, but I submit the following. The Freedom of Press Clause of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution protects the rights of individuals to express themselves through publication and dissemination of information, ideas, and opinions without interference, constraint, or prosecution by the government. I have not restricted their publication or dissemination of information in any way, shape, or form. Put another way, the Outlook does not get to call the governor on her personal cell phone or her home phone number anytime they have a question. The media is not given the cell phone number for the President of the United States. Rather, the press is required to go through appropriate channels to ask questions. Does that mean then the freedom of press has been restricted? While other city councilors have opted to grant media access to their personal cell phones, that is a matter of permission, not one of a constitutionally protected right. If Katy did not know my cell phone number, she would not be any more restricted to my opinions than she is today. In Katy's article, she wrote, editorials in the Outlook have been critical of the Fairview Business Association, saying it has played a heavy-handed role in Fairview politics. She incorrectly identified me as past president of the organization. I am very proud of my service to the Fairview Business Association and their accomplishments we achieved for the benefit of the City of Fairview. However, the record needs to correctly show that I have never been president of the organization. While I respect the opinion of the Outlook, I completely disagree that the FBA used heavy-handed role in Fairview politics. We participated in the last 2 elections, and the Outlook disagreed with our positions. We also participated in city governance, served on every city committee, donated lots of money to city projects, and helped with many critical issues. The FBA received awards for our efforts and, yes, achieved success during the elections. From my vantage point, the only one who appears to be upset with the results is the Outlook. They disagreed with the FBA's position and as a result are trying to take it out on me. The article makes it clear that I do respond to inquiries via my city communication channels, so one can only conclude that the big issue is time. The Outlook is obviously under very difficult time pressures and feels the only way to meet their deadlines is to have unfettered access to my personal cell phone and home phone communication channels to obtain critical information about the operation of the City of Fairview, Oregon. A famous quote comes to mind: "A lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine." I run 2 businesses, a nonprofit organization, volunteer at my church, Rotary Club, and business networking organization. I serve as a city councilor and fit in being a grandfather to 7 grandchildren and a husband to a spouse of 25 years, all while recovering from a very complicated open heart surgery caused by an ongoing genetic condition. As a veteran, I donned an Army uniform to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. It saddens me greatly to see an institution that benefits from the rights I am willing to lay down my life to protect, use those rights to take out a personal vendetta against me and my family simply because they disagree with my political points of view. It also saddens me to read that fellow City Councilor Brian Cooper and Pamplin Media Group President Mark Garber believe I have left my personal constitutional right to privacy at the doors to City Hall. Actually, I think it's worse. Both Brian and Mark appear to prefer I break federal law by holding public discussions via private communication channels. Do the citizens of Fairview not deserve to read both the question and my full answer to the questions from the media? In my humble opinion, the only thing that is both tragic and humorous is Brian's blatant ignorance of the Constitution of the United States of America. Brian did get something right when he insinuated this story is a waste of time. The situation is a no-brainer. It would be better for me, my family, and the citizens of the City of Fairview if the Outlook just respected my wishes and public meeting laws to use the appropriate communication channels when asking me and all of my fellow city councilors questions pertaining to city business. Thank you.